The Genesis G80 wants to challenge the German premium market. Recently, we've seen the French attack with the DS9 on Mercedes E-Class, BMW 5 Series and Audi A6. Now the Korean attack, and the question is it better than the Mercedes E-Class and its German premium competitors? And I've driven over 1,000 vehicles in my reviewing time. I'm not easily impressed, but can this car impress me? We will find out. Let's start with the front. Genesis G80 here with a meshed front grille in chrome. Wow, what a look. And the sensor here is very well integrated. It keeps the structure here, but still they have a good cover for the sensors that are behind it, and they can keep the 3D logo on the top. Genesis, a premium brand of the Hyundai Corporation. They put the Ioniq brand as their electric brand and Genesis as their premium brand. And now they are also back in Europe. They have tackled the US market so far. There's good feedback from that. Therefore, I was really interested. Now they try it on the European market, which is of course a very fierce competition. Headlamps, LED is standard, and the daytime running light here in a horizontal way. So a very sporty look, sportier than a Mercedes E-Class, for example, I think. The length here is at 5 meters or 197 inches, even 5 centimeters longer than the Mercedes E-Class, and I give way for the side. Wow. Look at that. I mean, what a cool side profile. 18 to 20 inch wheels. These are the big 20 inch wheels, and I think a massive design here with chrome, and it's a very flat design, so to speak. Here, the headlamps in the front are also somewhat mirrored in these side elements here. So very interesting. And then my favorite for this side profile is definitely this almost coupe-ish line. So it doesn't have a classical sedan line. It's more like a somewhat coupe fastback ending right here. And that's what I find really, really cool. And that also sets it apart, you know, from competitors. And to the rear, once again, they keep the continuous design right here with this horizontal structure also for the tail lamps. Very impressive. So I think a very consistent design like that. And A-Light for the Autogefühl fake exhaust police, not entirely fake because the tip is fake and the rear exhaust on the inside, but of course somewhat. They have rear drive models and also all-wheel drive models, and this one is the petrol test today, but they also come with the all-electric version of the G80. That's of course also massive. And turning indicator check, here this dual scheme, this is really attractive, and even at the side right there, spectacular. And also here in the rear, this dual layout, very well visible. And I really have to say, guys, now that the rain is picking up, the connotation, look at that car once again. Doesn't it look a little bit like a Bentley in the front with the front grille and the English rain? And also, you know, this front 3/4 view as well, but especially then with the grille, but also from the rear. To me now, it really gets the Bentley design. Or what do you think? In talking about the EV version with an 87 kilowatt-hour battery, supposed range something 400 kilometers, 250 miles, and fastest in acceleration less than 5 seconds. If you want to see the G80 EV here on our channel as well, put it in the comments. Then the other engines, there will be a 3.5 liter V6, an almost equal acceleration figure, around 5 seconds, just like the EV version with 2 electric motors. And then there's here the 2.5 liter turbo, the smaller petrol engine, around 6 seconds with a 300 horsepower version. We have today here a little bit more, 6.5 with a 250 horsepower version. And then there's also a 2.2 liter diesel, but that won't play a big role. These cars are about details. That's why we here in Autogefühl also pay attention to details. So let's switch to the interior. I was really impressed by the exterior, and it can easily catch up with the German manufacturers. I think it's even more attractive in a way. It's more unique, and we've been driving around and that really gets the looks like, what car is that? So it's definitely more unique, but can the interior catch up? At this price point, this car starts below 50,000 US dollars or below 50,000 euros, whereas the E-Class usually starts in most markets higher than $50,000 and higher than 50,000 euros. So at that price point, can they catch up with the interior? Let's see. Soft touch at the top part here, then matte wood use here. Hear that? Beautiful. Then inside of doors also plush materials, galvanized buttons with some knurling effect. That's awesome. Memory seating, This is of course not the base entry version. No press test vehicle is ever in the base version. So this is of course not below $50,000 here, but still it will be cheaper than the E-Class. Yeah, I mean, design of the steering wheel, I think that's maybe the only thing here that is a little bit of a let-off, because I don't know, it looks so old school, you know? The design of the steering wheel is super old school, I think. So that is to criticize design-wise, or what do you think? Tell me in the comments. But here, the quality of the buttons here on the steering wheel, that's awesome. And the Germans are moving to the capacitive buttons on the steering wheel, which is BS to control while driving. So I'm really glad we still have normal buttons to press here while driving the steering wheel. And one of my favorite features here, this knurling here at the turning indicator store column, that's awesome. So really good build quality already with that. As for the seats, they look really luxurious. So far only animal skin materials available, but they told me when they are about then here to launch the G80 EV, they will also present some alternatives they promised to us, because obviously the animal skin leather, it's not good for the animals. It's also a lot of energy and resource use as well, and also for the workers involved. And the alternatives nowadays, you can have the very same feeling, use recycled materials, not even new petroleum use. And if you have new petroleum share, then it's like so little that it's nothing in comparison to petrol use of a car or something. So the alternatives are there. You just have to offer them to the customer. You can get the same feeling, but just with less impact on everyone. And that's, you know, what they have to do here. That's where they are lacking behind a little bit. But we see and keep you updated what's to come right there. Seating position itself, the ergonomics of the seat, top notch, really comfortable. Steering wheel, in and out, up and down. And like you listen to the electric motors of the seat and so on, this is really silent. You can hardly pick that up when you here have the seat control. This is also a seat massage function here. So let me turn on the ignition and let's test that one. So I like to pay attention to those details, especially in these luxury cars. And we have to say, sometimes when you have like these really extremely loud electric motors of small functions, it's like what's going on here? But here, it's really subtle. The seat massage here is actually quite nice, but that one I have to say feels a little bit more elaborate with Mercedes, but it's already quite cool because it's also keeping you a little bit in movement from the lower seating area and not only at the back. Then, one means a 6.1, a lot of headroom left. This one here without the panoramic roof, and I mean, this Alcantara or microfiber ceiling, beautiful, and I mean, look at that. Everything you touch and see, this is high-class build quality, top-notch. I have to say, the first interior impression, I'm super impressed. And once again, that doesn't happen often. My first impression is it maybe even better than the Germans? Interior overview, once again, really impressive. Besides the steering wheel, I mean, I want to know what you guys think. Do you also think it's a little bit like color-wise, it perfectly fits? But from design, I think it's too old school in comparison to the other things. Or what do you think? What do you see in the steering wheel? But instruments, pretty fancy. 8-inch or optional 12.3-inch 3D instruments. Really a three-dimensional look. Doesn't really come on camera. But some more details to that. It's really interesting, I can promise. Then, here in the middle part, 14.5-inch horizontal screen. That looks really impressive. Also some more details to that. Soft touch here. Then once again, my favorite, matte wood. Wow, I mean, this is one of the best build qualities I've seen so far. This is really awesome. And we still have hotkeys, so not everything wire touch. That's cool. And also, yes, yeah, we have the manual climate knobs with nice display on the inside. So that's also easy to control. And here, this is then the touchscreen, but this for the vent strength. And you can still easily control that. No problem here also with the cooled seats, heated steering wheel. In the lower area, you can slide this one open, and also here how it resonates from the quality. Can we take a moment of silence for this? So smooth. And then you have USB chargers, USB-A in the front, an inductive charging pad with the phone, but for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto you need the cable connection here. Then volume knob here and some hotkeys. And this is a little bit strange. I mean, the clicking sound is great and it looks awesome. However, this is here to control the infotainment system, and you can press like this, or you can then turn. And actually you rather want something like this. This is the shifting lever, which is also cool. But you want to have something this, as a control knob, and not like, you doing this is strange. You can't really touch it, and then maybe you slide over it. So doing the DJ like is not suitable to control the infotainment system, I think. And if you want to reach over by touch, it's it's actually too far away. Then here, cup holders, also adaptive. Driving mode selector. So again, once again, high build quality, and this one here, the armrest, opens in a split way. And you can remove this then, 12-volt power supply. Details to the infotainment system. So now it looks quite fluent, but I have to, again, like this, use this DJ function on the knob in the middle console. And this is like a screensaver menu, which looks super fancy. And this is the main menu you can go through. Super wide screen. You can also use touch, but then you have to reach over quite far. So while driving, that's not recommended. Let's take a look at the map. Looks quite impressive. But still they have this kind of old software, and see it's also not that responsive. So yeah, I think this should be better for this vehicle. The software of the infotainment system and the user interface, this is where they can still work on, definitely. Seat control here, let's take a look at that. Here you can also take a look at these controls right there. Nice visualizations as well. In the sports mode, by the way, the bolsters are a little bit stiffer then. That's also a cool feature. And let's take a look at the Apple CarPlay. And the integration looks like this. You can still have like a map split screen. That's actually quite good use of this horizontal screen. And let's listen to the music sound system here. And yeah, that's decent. Pretty clear, and also three-dimensional sound. Thomas music proof. Digital instruments, not as high in the resolution as the main screen, but really fancy. You cannot see the 3D effect. That's just for the human eye. But what you can see is, when we change the driving modes, look at that, then also the scheme here of the instruments change, and in the middle part you can also then change a little bit, what you want to see right there. And the head-up display is a good option, really large and very crystal clear to see. And I have to show you this. Just imagine your key falls down there. This is like, a very famous spot. Wait a minute, it's not lost. Look at that. This is such a great idea. There's a bolstering inside here, so things don't fall in there. Every car owner has tried to I need to get this out, but here it can't happen, only if it falls behind this bolstering. That wouldn't be too good. Not to forget, the car key looks like this. These are the remoting parking functions, and that way you can also remotely start up the vehicle. This will be very interesting. And then, of course, famous and Autogefühl door closing sound. Really subtle. And this one also equipped here with a soft close, and that works both for the front door and also here for the rear door. Now the rear seating area, this is also where luxury sedans have the clash and see which one is best. Once again, the matte wood inside here, this is also one of my favorite features. Looks so great, it feels great, it doesn't leave fingerprints, awesome. Then manual shade here, why not? For the kids, for example, or for the CEOs, or for the CEO kids, I don't know. And then look at that, the interior. This is, first of all, we start with the seating position behind me driving. So how much legroom is there left with the length of the vehicle? Let's see. And this is normal in this segment. You still have some legroom left. However, these segment vehicles here, they have not a good usage of space, so to speak, but also very luxurious seating position. That's cool. Here you have an additional mirror you can fold out like this. This is awesome. So, oh, do I look pretty today? You rate that better than me. But also, again, what a great quality, like when you put that in again, and also like the feedback you get just acoustically. Wow. Once again, microfiber seating, so cozy in this interior. You have the rear seat entertainment right there. I'm not a fan of these rear seat entertainments because of crash safety in general. And I mean, everyone wants to use their iPads anyway. Who wants to use this? I'm not sure if that is really that useful. You can check out the camera of the vehicle here in the rear as well. all the different cameras. That's maybe funny that the kids can play around with that. And what's also cool, you can move the seat here with this middle console, so move it a little bit more forward and so on. But this is rather a function I want to use behind this seat there, and then behind the co-driver or the passenger, which is in this case not present, but here. Very good that they thought of these controls. Here you can move the seat then forward, and there also like this. And now we can then by this create us the best seating position here as being chauffeured. So I switched the seats now, and recently in a DS9 episode we said, you know, in the movies like the UK chauffeurs, they're always called James, and we asked how are the French chauffeurs are being called, and we had like some results not saying like Jean or Jacques or something. Question to our Korean fans, how are chauffeurs in Korea called actually? It's like, I don't know, you know, you tell me in the comments, but maybe also then, you know, in English letters, not in Korean letters, so we can all read it. Looking forward to that. So, I mean, that is, we're comparing it against the E-Class, right? This is, you know, rather coming close to S-Class. Huge middle tunnel here, of course, you see. You know, there are also all-wheel drive models, and the other models are rear-wheel driven, so this is really blocking. But, I mean, it's the two-seat setup here anyway. You can use the middle seat, yes, so this is possible, like this, but it's quite stiff here and not, yeah, it's not laid out for that, rather emergency seat. I want to enjoy this luxury position. Here I move the seat all the way to the front, and then you can also use this console here. You have then the cup holders like this, and once again, buttons here for the seat heating in the rear, for the seat cooling in the rear, and not like this screen all over the place. Once again, you have this control here. I mean, clicking sounds, once again cool, but I think just when it comes up more and then you have something to turn, it's better than like doing the DJ once again. This is here, another space, USB and also headphones, and look at that, another detail right there I found really peculiar, so that you don't see the interior here that much where there's nothing to look at. Here they put a cover here, which is connected to the armrest, like this, to cover this space up, beautifully done. And ski hatch is right there, so you can also load things through. Yeah, and once again, since you can adjust the seat here, you can put a sleeping position like this, and Jonas, you want to drive today? So I just stay here and yeah, play with the cameras or play here also with the rear sunshade. Here we go. Sunshade up, sunshade down. Homer Simpson would enjoy this. And let's try out the remote parking function. It's very interesting. So I hold down the button right here, the camera and parking button, and let's slowly drive and see. There's a parking spot right next to us. Yeah, the vehicle got it right there, and also that's a parking box or parallel parking, but realize it's parking box. So here we go, and then I can actually decide, do I want to do the remote parking from outside, or do I want it from the inside? In this case, I want to start from the inside, so I have to hold down the parking button here, and once again, and now I release the brake, and the car is, what the f... Okay, that happened. Yeah, that wasn't exactly the parking spot. I tried it several times, didn't work. Now I found another parking spot, and then the car did realize that. So let's see. Once again, I hold down the button, now release the brake pedal, and let's see what the car does now. Here we go. So I'm doing nothing but holding the parking button now. What is the car doing? Here we go. Oh, that's actually quite fast. Yeah, but it doesn't look too bad. There we go, now going in the front. A little bit weird though, of course. The question is really, I mean, with the other parking spot, I tried it several times, didn't work. And if you get frustrated by such a system, like one or two times, will you use it anymore? Here in this case, it works. There we go, and we are inside the parking box. So this time it worked. Now let's get it out again, but without me sitting on the inside. So I hold this button then, and then the car remotely comes to life. That's actually pretty cool. And now I can press the forward button and hopefully the car comes towards me. Come on, use the force, young Padawan. Here we go. Do or do not, there is no try. And yeah, this obviously works, and probably I should stop it now. Don't go to the other vehicles, right? So this is a cool function when it's really very narrow, and yeah, by that way I can now get easily in the car. So that's actually a cool function, and I think it's also a little bit more reliable than like complicated parking maneuvers. So this would be one of the use cases when you have like a narrow garage or something to get the car in and out rather than a straight way. The other commandos I would rather still do myself. Welcome to Thomas's luxurious driving lounge, Genesis G80, the turbo petrol engine, 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. You go for this one for a lower entry price, not for better fuel economy, because fuel economy here, 10, 11 liters on 100 kilometers, barely 20 mpg US, barely 25 mpg UK, so that's not good at all. I think then you can also go for the 3.5 liter V6, right? Or then maybe at some point when you have the electric version, which we also want to present to you here on our channel. But today, actually the entry-level version, as for the engine, for the whole interior. And the first thing that comes to my mind, what a relaxed driving feeling it is. Nice turning indicator sound, and also how it feels to use the turning indicator. They use the ECS, electronically controlled suspension, so it foresees also what's coming ahead. And then it adapts accordingly. That's very interesting, and it's working very well. So you really have this, somewhat flying effect. It's very soft. At the same time, it doesn't shake up too much when I'm going in the slalom here. It's actually quite okay. The steering wheel pretty responsive and also gives me a direct feeling of the vehicle. So that's also pretty good. And the driving modes also change accordingly. So when I'm here in normal driving mode or in eco driving mode, left throttle input, then I can switch the driving mode to comfort mode, switches the instruments, a little bit more throttle input, still very comfortable for the steering wheel. And then the sport, the bolsters here on the seat get a little bit stiffer than interesting. Red instruments, sporty design, a little bit more feedback from the steering wheel. Let's see, try it again, sport. Yeah, it gets more loose in the other modes. And also more throttle input than in the sports mode. But the main focus here of the car is definitely the comfort, and great seating position. Really super calm in the interior, so great noise insulation as well. What we realized is it gets quite hot easily in this vehicle. So when it's standing in the sun outside, although there's no panoramic roof, it gets really hot very quickly by all the glass areas and so on. Not sure what the reason of that is. Maybe also because the heat cannot escape the vehicle since there's such a good insulation. Then, what's also nice, when we have this home screen of the menu, we have a little bit of like raining surrounding and so on. And it's also displayed here, with a thunderstorm and so on. That's actually quite cool. So a very, very fancy home screen as for that. So I'm really feeling at home, and comfort-wise, I have to say it can easily indeed catch up with a Mercedes E-Class. Actually, I think it feels somewhat similar in driving like a normal Mercedes E-Class, whereas the Audi A6 and the BMW 5 Series more set emphasis on a sportier note, more driving agility. This year really wants to orient on the Mercedes E-Class, and driving-wise, so far, it does it very well. An additional safety mechanism here, left turning signal, you see the left side camera, right turning signal, you see the right camera. That's actually a good safety mechanism. It's an addition to the blind spot monitor, and then you can also have this camera image as an additional safety net. So very good idea, and it's always interesting to see how it switches then left and right. And the ultimate test, unlimited speed here, German Motorway, We're already at 90 kilometers an hour, so like 55 miles an hour. Let's go. Kilometers an hour, wow. Still very calm and subtle on the road. Let's do a lane change like this, easily mastered. Wind noises haven't picked up majorly, so that's very well done. I think the ultimate Germanish test, yeah, also did prevail in this one here. But the sound, by the way, sound actuator here in the 2.5 liter turbo 4-cylinder engine, I mean, here at about 6 seconds is still a decent acceleration figure for the 300 horsepower all-wheel drive version. But of course not the most performant one. There the V6 will perform better, and of course also the electric version. But here on the motorway, that's also where it has to face the challenge against the E-Class. And 120 kilometers an hour, so 70 miles an hour, around that. This is definitely also a good motorway speed, both for German and also for US highways. And it's actually very subtle on the road, calm, collected. Noise insulation is also good. At lower speeds, it's extremely silent. Here now at higher speeds, yeah, I think maybe the E-Class is still a little bit more silent in there, but still, very relaxed driving feeling. And also the assistance systems, we can set it here. Yes, with hard buttons in the steering wheel, that's better than in the E-Class now. And set the speed and also activate or deactivate the steering assist. And let's see, is it smooth and flawless? Here, yeah, holding me in the lane. Of course, you should keep your hands on the steering wheel. That's actually quite good. Traffic sign recognition telling me it's 80, but it does not adapt the cruise control to that. The car was reducing the speed because of the car in front of me. It's still showing me the speed I have set earlier. So traffic sign recognition, the connection to setting the speed, that is not included right here at the moment. So I think they should also include that. Only with steady motorway driving, with cruise control, like 100 kilometers, 120 kilometers, like 60, 70 miles, then we could score 8.3 liters on 1 kilometers. That's then more 30 mpg US, 35 mpg UK. Now we are once again approaching a tunnel. You can see here all the instruments are also illuminated and so on. Wow, I mean, I'm really super relaxed in this vehicle, and this is definitely one of the key competitors now in the luxury sedan market. I've been impressed with the exterior, been impressed with the interior build quality as well, and the driving test was something, you know, a lot of cars can keep up then with the German premium manufacturers, but in the driving test they quite often fail because of the driving dynamics or maybe like noise insulation and so on. But this gives a super luxurious feeling, yet at the same time, when you put to the sports mode, it's really more aggressive, and also when you do a lane change in the sports mode and so on, it feels sportier. The steering feeling is generally good, I have to say, but there can be a little bit more connection, car, driver and road, so this is something could fix it a little bit, but definitely better than recently in the DS9. So if you want to compare the French manufacturer, what they have done, check out the DS9 review, and of course also the Mercedes E-Class review, recently facelifted. I would really like to see you there.